It's lights out and away we go.
Oh, God, you're loud.
Oh, too loud? Too loud.
Not loud enough.
No?
Because it is lights out. It's lights out.
I'm so glad we figured out that whole thing with the international F1 TV.
I know.
Because it would have been horrible. Because I think the first half of the race, we were like, this is not the same.
No, I hated it.
What are we doing?
Welcome to F1 Talk. Today we're talking about the shitty sound, the commentators from the actual F1 app.
Yes, we are international ladies only.
Can you not tap on the table so we can hear on the microphone?
Crofty only. Crofty only.
Kraft is the only one that should be talking when there's an F1 race on. I don't know what Formula One TV was thinking. They should have just paid him more money and make him the regular guy.
The only guy.
The thing is, they're English as well. It's like everything.
I don't think it's got to do with the fact their nationality or their accent. It's got to do with the fact that they're ass when they're commentating.
Yeah.
That's my professional opinion.
From all your journalism experience?
I used to have a column. I used to write a lot of stage work, and I can tell you right now, those commentators are ass. And that's an actual technical term.
Do you think we'll ever get them on the cast?
You can get them on because they're probably not going to be employed.
Oh.
So yeah, they'll probably be cheap. They'll be cheap. They'll be cheap on.
No, we'll bring him on, and I have no filter, so I will just read them for filth.
By the way, this episode of F1 Talk is brought to you by Madera Cinco. They have no idea they're sponsoring this, but it's really delicious wine.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been drinking.
And that's what makes this podcast very critically important.
You know, actually, this is kind of like, even though it's a Friends with Cars F1 Talk, this is a Friends with Cars After Dark, too.
It is.
We haven't filmed one of those in a while, actually.
And I'm glad we're doing it. Maybe this will be the F1 Talk After Dark Australia
GP.
The Australia GP After Dark.
Australia, mate.
It only makes sense because the race, for us at least, was
in the dark.
At night.
Hey.
At night. Yeah. Well, now that we're here, first impressions. Jessica.
I love what's happening. I have just loved everything that's happened from this point and before. Max has only finished in one race, and I have been praying on his downfall, and my prayers have been answered.
Seems really heavy. That's very intense.
James?
I like to see I like to see Ferrari back on top.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if both drivers were both consistent and doing well. And granted, it's only been the third race of the season, but the fact that Charles Leclerc has done well the first three races, I'm all for it. I'm not a big, I think I said this last podcast, I'm not a big Ferrari fan, but it's nice to see a different team compete in the top three.
Okay. What about you?
I think I am a Ferrari fan. I'm just not a Ferrari driver fan. Before, when Sebastian Vettel was there, I was not mad at him.
Right.
I was okay with him being a driver for Ferrari. I was just mad at Charles Leclerc. Now that Carlos Sainz is there, I want my boy Carlos Sainz to do good. I just can't stand Charles Leclerc. Now, is he a good driver? Yes. Is he the Leclerc 2.0 people are talking about? I think that's kind of sad that they're calling him a 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
That means he used to be shitty, and now he's doing okay, but it's only been 3 races. And let's face it, it's all about the car. He actually has a decent car. I'm not saying he's a bad driver. He's got the car. And we all know Charles Leclerc, when he's losing, he's sour. He makes the faces. He cries. And I think you said, right, he cries during sex, right?
Yeah.
Or shortly thereafter.
After sex. Oh.
So I'm a Ferrari fan. I don't like the driver. And I think maybe that's just athletes in general. But you see some athletes that they do well and they celebrate. They do bad and they still somewhat celebrate the fact that they're athletes and they're drivers. Mm-hmm. I think Charles Leclerc is one of those where if he's not winning, it's everybody else's fault except for him. Mm-hmm. And it's just a bad time. And he's a sore loser, and I can't stand it.
See, but the real comeback story is the fact that Mercedes is so reliable. Like, you can have a great and a fast car, but if you can't finish the race, there's no points in that. So seeing Mercedes be reliable and finishing all 3 races on the points, leading the constructors, might I add. I mean, Total Wolf knows what he's doing. I think that's what you said.
There's been a lot of talk about Ferrari and Red Bull and the battle that's going on, but we're kind of a little bit quiet about Mercedes. And hey, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And guess who's leading the Constructors' Championship?
The devil himself.
The devil himself, Mercedes. So, yeah, and I think it's very evident, especially in this last race when they told Russell to stop fighting Sergio for that place. It's kind of a weird thing to tell a driver, don't battle for that position, don't protect yourself, don't block. But the fact they told him to go ahead and let him go and save the tires, they were still doing fine, leads me to believe, yeah, there's a greater plan.
Right.
And they're leading the constructor.
Yeah, but granted, it's only been the third race of the season. I think this is 22 races in the season.
Yes.
It's the most amount of races in a single F1 season, I think, right?
Right.
But there's still plenty of time left. I think the fact that for Red Bull is having to just get back on the horse and figure out what's going on with them, I think they have some time to do it.
I don't know. Max is throwing a hissy fit about the way the car was working right now, which, I mean, I don't think that I would, something's wrong with my car and I drive it to work every day and I throw a hissy fit. So I guess I get it, but.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a standard for being an athlete. That's why I can never be a professional athlete. Baseball players do it. They miss a swing and they look at the bat.
They look at the bat.
Like the bat somehow missed the ball. Golfers do the same thing. They hit the ball and they kind of look at the club and, it's like, yeah, it's the athlete's never at fault. Only basketball players can actually look at their hands and make sense.
That's so true.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, the season I think so far has been fantastic. 3 races in, I think we've seen, and cautiously, we've seen the change in the vehicle is making a difference. I think this last race was very evident how close some of the cars were following. All the position changes. I think that if that is in fact the true purpose of the design, I think it's working.
And I mean, I always root for Ricardo, and they did good this season. I know you pointed out that Lando did better, and I don't appreciate that.
Just by a position, though.
I don't appreciate it, but they did good, and I'm glad to see them a little bit back more towards the top than finishing 19th and 20th.
You think there's maybe the psyche of the driver that at some point they hit a plateau and they can't get over it, and they're kind of just stuck? Ricardo's a great driver, but could it be that he's just in this moment where I think we can say Alonso was there before he left. He really wasn't improving. He was kind of stuck in that whatever he was in. And now that he's back, you can see he's got a little more fire. He's pushing more. I'm not saying that he's done driving, of course, Ricardo, but I'm saying maybe he's in that moment where he's kind of stuck, and maybe switching the team wasn't the best decision.
Was not the best decision?
Right.
But Alpine's doing worse, I think. They finished worse, at least
I think
in
he's
this
talking
last
about
race.
Ricardo, though.
I'm just talking about Ricardo himself.
Oh, I know, but if he would have stayed on the team now, because hindsight's 2020, like if he would have stayed on the team, he wouldn't be doing as well, because Alpine's not doing as well.
Well, I think Alonso's doing pretty good.
Yeah, Alonso as a driver is doing good.
Gotcha.
And that's what I'm saying. And maybe it's just that he just kind of hit this block where, he's a good driver. He probably can find the time. He can probably pass all the drivers, but he's just kind of stuck in this moment where I don't know if it's the confidence that he's lost, and he just needs to get over that hump.
Right.
And I feel like Alonso was kind of there when he left, and I think everyone was okay with him leaving. Like, yeah, you were champion, you're fine. But now that he's back, they're like, man, this guy is one of the oldest drivers on the grid, and he's doing so good. I mean, he almost took a position, the starting at the front.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ricardo is there yet, though. I think he still has a lot of fight in him. And I think the fact that he got that podium last year was kind of the start of him recreating himself. And he even talked about it. It's like, this is what he needed. And I think, I don't think, comparing him to Alonso, I don't think he's there yet. I think he'll do better this year. I just don't think he'll do better than Lando.
I think that he's playing the long game because he's in a Mercedes-powered car. So where else do you go? To Mercedes. They swap drivers throughout the teams that are all powered by each other, and that it's like trading.
I would love to see George Russell be kicked out of F1 and that seat be given to Ricardo. I'll be okay with that. I will be okay with that. I've not made it a secret. I hate Russell. I think he's a douche, and I don't know. Maybe he's a good driver. I haven't seen anything yet.
You know, I think whoever he did his like media training with has to be the exact same person that Hamilton did his media training with, because they answer like such tools. They took a tool media training class.
Maybe there is a thing that Mercedes requires.
Yeah, maybe. But wow. You would think Russell has been driving at the top of his game the last 10 years with the way he does.
I just can't help it when he says, I think we got some things to figure out. And it's like, no, I think they're going to figure something out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody has their driver that they dislike. I don't think that you necessarily care too much. I think you're just in it for the sport.
Oh, I mean, come on. We all hate Stroll.
Oh, that's true. Do you think you hate any driver?
I mean,
Hate's a strong word.
and again, we're talking hate as in Formula One driving. Hate.
Yeah.
Not like we don't know these people.
Yeah, well,
I
George
don't
Russell
know.
is that person for me now. I think George Russell. I don't even think Stroll for me. Stroll was whining quite a bit. His dad did buy the team. But I think George Russell for me.
I'm just saying I like Canadians and I can't take Stroll. So I don't. It's got to be something that he's doing.
You know who? You know who the F1? My favorite F1 driver, Kelly Piquet, because she drives F1 drivers.
Hey, if you want to win, get yourself a PK. Is that wrong? It's not wrong, right?
No.
It's just
No,
right.
Hey, we love her. She's living.
And-
Too bad the torpedo didn't get some of that good.
Torpedo.
Get some of that good luck though. She did have his baby.
Yeah, either you have a baby by her or you win a world championship, and Max got the championship. You can only have one or the other.
Well, Max got Lewis's championship.
Max got Lewis's championship. Some of this we might have to edit out because it's not good.
What do you mean?
That's not good. I feel kind of bad.
I feel no shame. I don't know them.
I'm sure.
Hey, you know what? If they don't like what we're saying, they need to come on the podcast. Just come on the podcast and tell me that I'm
prove me
wrong.
wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. Come to the podcast.
You've obviously never argued with me because I can.
We're sponsored by wine.
Sponsored by Madera Cinco. Let's talk about Albon.
Oh wow, amazing!
Williams has never looked better in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe Latifi was still so far below. Although I would say that, of course, Albon did not pit. So he is a smooth operator. He is massaging those tires very, very nicely. I understand that there's a rule. We talked about this. There's a rule that they have to pit. In this case, I think there should have been an exception.
Right.
It's unfortunate that the penalty was 30 seconds if he didn't pit. I think if it would have been 5 seconds, he probably would have gone for it. But he still ended up in the points.
He did. And it's weird. You can be penalized for not pitting, but you don't get penalized for winning a world championship.
What was the average pit
see where
stop
you're going with
time? Like the average pit stop time.
I think Mercedes had a pretty fast one. It was a 2.4.
Well, I mean, like the overall, like from entering the pits.
Oh, 19 seconds.
Oh, 19. See, that's the thing though. It's if he was going to be penalized 30 seconds, they had to look at that.
Oh, yeah, he would have. Yeah, he never would have recovered from that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was that 7 plays for Williams would have been just so amazing.
And I just don't understand how Latifi is so far off. You're telling me all of Daddy's money can't get you any better?
He's crashed every single race this
I
season,
know,
right?
that's what I mean.
Crashed and or spun out.
You're telling me he can pay for the car, but he can't pay for you to get some lessons?
This is true.
Yeah.
It's Latifi. Again, we have some drivers, and you see this you rarely see this in other sports unless they're fully corrupt. F1 is the only sport that I know that it's pretty much up front, and if you have enough money, you can be a driver.
Yeah, we'll bring you on.
Right.
And I think that's the problem with some of these drivers. And I think the teams just know they have one driver and the other one's going to be a gimme.
Well, and for example, like Magnussen is doing so much better than
Mick
Schumacher.
And we talked about this, and I think you said this. Mick Schumacher's not ready to be a Formula One driver, and
Right.
I agree.
But he brings money, so. But Gunther Steiner is pretty upfront about that.
This is true. Again, the honesty in the sport, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's something.
Well, they touched base on it in Drive to Survive. Remember when he was going to go to a German company for sponsorship, and they wanted him to bring on a German driver?
He said,
So
I know just the kid.
Well, and I can understand. I think Honda did the same thing, right? They're very proud of having
Sonoda.
having a Japanese driver.
Yeah.
He
is mouthy, by the way. I'm sorry. I finished Drive to Survive, and he throws the C word like it's no one's freaking business. And the show is trying to make excuses for him. It's like, English isn't his first language, and he grew up watching Formula One and how other Formula One
and
drivers would talk. Yeah, and the mechanics of how they talk. So, it's natural that he talks like that. Like, damn.
He said, I don't know, man.
I'm glad you finished it. I know we talked about this. I finished it, and I told him the last 3 episodes. It's all about the last 3 episodes. I think they kind of tie the whole thing together. And yes, I know that Netflix has creative liberties, but I don't care. It's a matter of what was going on at that time and some of the interviews. And it's a little wild.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that Toto Wolff has most likely, yes, he has murdered people. Or, I'm sorry, had people murdered.
Had people murdered. That sounds better.
So what were some of the standouts for the race for you guys? What was your number one standout for the race? I know you mentioned Ricardo getting 7th place. But
number one standouts.
What was your favorite part of the race?
I think my standout was that there was safety cars and the results were the same. Charles Leclerc kept the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got the Grand Slam.
You saw the purposing of the cars, which was interesting. Yeah, he did. He got the Grand Slam. He led every single lap. He got the fastest.
I thought Grand Slam was winning 3 races in a row.
No. It's in the race. The race Grand Slam. I think that was a standout moment. I think that's unique. I think it's kind of hard to do, especially now with who's driving. But the fact that he led every single lap and there was yellow flags on the safety cars and he came back on top and he got the fastest lap. And even though he got the fastest lap, he was trying to go for even a faster lap. That was a standout to me. I think that was a really great race for Ferrari. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Leclerc, but I think he did really well. And I think the team as a whole is doing really well.
I can say also Sergio Perez is keeping Red Bull together. Like if they don't let him go for the championship before Max Verstappen, I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I think he's 4th in the running for the points. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if you look at the last races, even the end of the last season coming into this season, he's got that momentum. And yeah, he's been the one keeping Red Bull afloat. You're right.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. and I think just him being as much of a team player as he is and what he's doing for the team, I think if something happens with Max in the next couple of races, I think Sergio should be the driver that they focus on.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's proved he's there for the team. I feel like Max is more for himself as a driver, and Sergio's like, I'll be whatever you want me to be. Like that's way more team effort.
Well, I like to think, and I'll probably have to go back and look, but I'm trying to think of when you look at Hamilton winning championships, you can't say that Bottas helped them win the championship.
No,
I think they both won a constructors. Bottas helped Mercedes win a constructors championship.
Right.
I think when you talk about driving teams, I think Sergio pretty much handed Verstappen his championship.
Right. Was it at least an ample part of winning the championship?
And we remember last season when Sergio, even though he was out, going for the fastest lap to take it away from whoever had it, so the Max, couldn't lose that point.
Right.
So no one would have that point, and then taking him out of the race as soon as that was done. It was all the stuff that he did. Yeah, he was 100% helping Max win the championship, and I think he was there for that. I don't think there's another driver that's done that. I think Sergio's still doing it.
Right, and I think it's important, at least for the team, to put him as a priority if he's doing better.
If he's doing better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Tell you if they don't like him, tell you who can use him. Mercedes.
Has there ever been a Mexican world championship or champion? I think that'd be super cool, though. Man, freaking if Sergio Perez wins the world championship, if Sergio wins the world championship, we got to go to Mexico.
Oh, period.
That's gonna be a fucking party.
I agree with that. I think we should. So
TJ would be fucking lit.
TJ would be lit.
Yeah, he won the Formula One World Championship along with Juan Pablo Montoya.
You want to know why he's in Mexico? Because Madero Cinco.
Yeah, Andretti's in Mexico because he enjoys drinking Madera Cinco. Yeah, probably. But yeah, no, we have to do that. Having said that, I will say that I've been looking at tickets for Formula One so we can go to a race this season. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened. Last week, there was nothing available because it went on sale. Now, when you look, everything's sold out, even though it says that there's tickets available. I mean, I went deep. I went to Singapore, and they said it was tickets for $300. And once you get to the tickets, the only available one is the $1,500 ticket.
Sheesh.
So I don't know what the popularity of F1 is. I mean, I know it's getting bigger. I think Netflix pushed that a lot. But people that I know that I've known for a long time are now posting about Formula One. And posting about the races that were never had before.
Yeah.
But I think they mentioned, well, after Netflix, I kind of watch the races now. So it's becoming this, and I don't want to touch on it because I think it's great that people are watching it. But I think it's kind of like when Miami had a team that was really good. People didn't go for the basketball. They went because it was a thing to do. And I feel like there's a lot of people are doing that right now.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's a thing to do. The way I can say that I went to a Formula One race.
Well, and I think just now, at least in the U.S., adding 2 more races to the calendar, so they race here 3 times. When 4 or 5 years ago they only had Texas.
I think there's still tickets available for Texas.
Right, but I mean, we're adding 3 races to the U.S. when there's only ever been 1.
And we're losing Monza, I believe.
What? They didn't re-sign?
I believe Monza is the one that's going away. I think it's the only one that doesn't have a current contract because they can't add more than 23 races or 22 races.
That's crazy.
I think Monza is going to be the one that's going to kick out. I have to double check on that, but last I read, I think it was Monza's the only one that didn't have a contract to re-sign, and I don't think they're going to do it.
Out of all of them, you would think, because I'm sorry, there is another Italian.
Yes, there's another Italian one.
Okay. Yeah, but Monza's iconic.
Again, I'll have to double check on that, so don't quote me on it, but if I'm right, quote me on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's Monza.
Do we have any closing thoughts or arguments?
Going back to how the popularity of Formula One, increasing. We jumped in Formula One pretty late.
Yes.
Obviously, they've been doing it for over 50 years now, but Augie, when I was in high school, he was in a Formula One, and I didn't even think anything of it. But all this time, we could have been watching Formula One.
Right.
It's like, I can't imagine not watching Formula One now and not having these races on Sunday. Oh, actually, by the way, you know how every year we put the Formula One races on the calendar manually? Mm-hmm. There's a way we could do it straight off the F1 TV. It puts it on our Gmail.
So if you guys haven't done that already, you can do it and add it to your Gmail calendar.
I didn't know you can do that. We have to do that.
Yeah, I'll show you right now.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 we recommend?
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, I mean, we started watching Formula One. We were still living at your mom's house, and you watched a race in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was Monaco.
So that's been we've been watching for the last 5 years. And
I remember that night because I go to sleep later and you were sleeping, and I'm just flipping through channels, and it happens to be the race. I'm like, I'm going to watch it for a little bit. I'm like, this is fucking cool.
And I think after that, we all just started watching consecutively every weekend.
I think if it wasn't Monaco, though, I probably wouldn't have had how do I put this?
You wouldn't have been as interested.
I wouldn't have been as interested because they were showing the race they were showing the events leading up to the race and the whole Monaco thing. And obviously Monaco is Monaco. It's like the race of the calendar. So I'm like, this is pretty cool, actually. So then I got you guys to watch it.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a YouTube clip and said you should check this out.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
I think Las Vegas is going to be our Monaco.
Here's the thing. With the fact that tickets are already sold out for the Dutch Grand Prix, and the ones that are available are like $1,000. I'm like, gosh.
I'm saying we get a hotel room strip view. Something you guys don't know is we go to Vegas at least 2 or 3 times a year, just for shits and gigs.
For funsies.
But if the time frame is in which that they say it's going to be, it's the time that we're usually there anyway. And I don't see why not. You wouldn't be able to buy a strip view room and just be able to watch it from the strip or from the hotel room. So
but it's not on the track.
I
know.
If you can't get tickets, at least you can be like,
okay, what's our max though? If tickets are available, are we willing to pay $800 a ticket?
Oh, I was going to say $1,000 a ticket.
Okay, $1,000 a ticket. We paid $675 for our Mexico tickets.
Yeah, and that was on top of that. We had to get flights and we got hotels.
We're broke. Don't listen to them. We have no money. Watch our podcast. We need nickels and dimes.
Okay, $1,000.
But I want to spend $5,000, so keep watching the podcast.
I think $1,000 is a good spot.
Yeah, I think if the tickets are available for that much money, I think that makes sense. We're driving there. We usually go there anyway. We usually spend money there anyway during that time.
We just got to win another jackpot.
And we just got to go back and just, put it all on red.
If you'd like to join us and have a conversation, please leave a comment below.
Loose slots at Circa Casino. Make sure you go to the Dancing Drunks.
Circa was very loose that night.
Circa was very loose.
Circa was a hussy.
She was a hussy.
All right, we can talk more about that as it comes.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Next race. Shall we look that up?
Is
So we got
Italia?
April 22nd
Okay.
and 24th.
That's weird that we come. Oh wait, so that's Miami then.
Wait, stay on that stay on that for now, and then when we.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Catch
Thanks
you
for
guys
watching.
on the flippity flip.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Madera 5.